Do you have a history of anorexia and you have weird superstitions like, well, I don't know, you carry around a rabbit's foot, or you don't like to walk under ladders or step on cracks on the sidewalk, all that stuff? Well, I totally relate. Watch the following video, like or subscribe, and peace. Hello everybody, my name is Billy Juliana. I'm 49 years old and I have a 40-year history of dealing with anorexia nervosa. And yes, today I am outside, which means that I have all these sound effects that you could possibly imagine in my audio circumference, as well as a breeze which is going through and kind of messing up my mic. And I have exposure issues with the sun today, and everything is kind of shot in terms of my filming, and I'm going to just blame it all on Pink Floyd. And that is the topic of today's video, and that is magical thinking and superstition. And while I don't think that magical thinking and superstition are particular to anorexia, I do think that magical thinking and superstition are common in anorexia. And the reason why is because our brains are malnourished, and we have developed this whole network of thinking in order to stave off all the threats of the real world and shrink our world down to something that is manageable, something that we are familiar with and that we know. And yet even in that shrunken world, there are threats out there. And one of the ones that I came up with over the years was a real sincere fear of Pink Floyd. And so today, as I was driving around, this doesn't happen frequently on the radio station that I listen to, but they started playing The Wall by Pink Floyd, and I had immediately an emotional reaction to that. I was frightened. And this, I have it every time I hear Pink Floyd, no matter where I am. If I'm in a shopping center, a bookstore, or in the car, if I hear Pink Floyd, I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, my day is shot. Pink Floyd is bad luck. It is something that is poisonous and threatening, and it means that everything that goes off in my day from here on out, it's the fault of Pink Floyd. I heard Pink Floyd on the radio, or I heard Pink Floyd in that shopping center, and now my day is shot. And as crazy and as irrational as that sounds, it is very, very compelling to me. And I know that you probably relate in some way, not to Pink Floyd, because we all have our own individual ways in which we have built up our safety network. And so we all have our, what I'm going to just call weird ways in which we protect ourselves. And yes, we create threats within our own little world so that we can protect ourselves from those threats instead of the bigger threats of the outside world. It sounds very convoluted, but what I'm trying to say is that an undernourished brain really can't deal with the big world. And so it creates a smaller world so that it can deal with that. And the smaller world looks real enough because in the smaller world there are threats like Pink Floyd and trains honking in the background, which is caused by Pink Floyd. See? So anyway, I am trying to rewire all of this stuff and air it. So I need to bring up the fact that I am afraid of Pink Floyd and trains honking in the background that are caused by Pink Floyd. And I realize that this is part of an undernourished brain. I don't need to be thinking this way anymore. I need to keep feeding myself and eating so that this stuff isn't threatening anymore. Now, I'm never going to go out and buy a Pink Floyd album. I'm really sorry to say that to Pink Floyd fans who are out there. I respect your love of Pink Floyd. They had great guitarists, they wrote some music, and they had beautiful album covers, really cool album covers. I will never buy a Pink Floyd album cover t-shirt, but still, I need to be able to live in the world where Pink Floyd exists, so I just need to keep eating and be able to deal with life. This is part of what recovery is all about, is learning to deal with everything and getting rid of these obsessive compulsive behaviors. It is true that anorexia has a strong obsessive compulsive disorder component to it. And my coach talks about this at length. She herself, as she was going through her disease process, she had so many obsessive compulsive issues. And actually, when I heard her relating a lot of her OCD issues, I was sitting here comparing myself, which of course we all do. I'm like comparing myself going, oh, she was sicker than I am because I didn't have all that stuff. Meanwhile, I'm over here frightened of Pink Floyd, frightened of The Who, and stockpiling toilet paper and stockpiling other things and being really OCD about other stuff. And I'm over here going, oh, I'm not really as sick as she is because she did all this other stuff. So it's just our brains. Our brains are not completely all there because we haven't fed them. And the plane is saying, hallelujah, you are right. You haven't fed your brain well enough. So you need to go and eat more. And also you need to be very, very mindful of the way in which your disordered brain is working. You need to be mindful of the fact that this irrational belief about Pink Floyd needs to go away. It's not rational. It's not true. You just made that up because you were living in a cocooned world and you couldn't handle the real world because you weren't feeding yourself and you're afraid. And so you made up Pink Floyd instead to focus on that. So I'm airing this, and I want you to write in the comments, perhaps if you're not too afraid to do so, don't be shy, any of the weird things that you think you need to get rid of in your belief system. Any superstition, any magical thinking that is just dogging you, that is just haunting you, that you feel like needs to go. And let's work on this together. You know, I relate to anything that you dig up because I have tons of weird stuff going on inside. And I know, again, it has to do with just the small world in which I've created that has been sort of a little bit of a fantasy to stave off bigger issues that I've been unwilling or unable to deal with. But it's all because I didn't eat enough. If I eat enough, I'll be able to deal with anything, and I'll be able to coexist with Pink Floyd in the world. And yes, I do think it will take time. I want to also bring this up. Again, I always do, because those of us who are older and have had anorexia for a long time, these things are really super entrenched. And the getting back into energy balance physically, is that itself is going to take a long time. Yes, we may gain weight really rapidly. It may come on super fast, but that doesn't mean that we are recovered yet or that we are in energy balance. We still have to eat tons and tons and tons to have all the repairs go on. And so that's going to take a while. So we need to keep eating, of course, but the brain stuff, all of that is also going to take a long time. And that isn't a discouragement at all. All I want you to do right now, and all I want me to do, is just be mindful. Be like, I heard Pink Floyd. I had this emotional reaction. It is BS. I need really to start working on taking the opposite action to Pink Floyd being a problem. And that is just say, this is BS, and make a YouTube video about this and say, we have magical thinking and we need to sweep it out because it's not helpful. If you have specific magical thinking that you'd like to air and we can sweep away, then please leave them in the comments. And also, I want to thank everybody who has watched the music contest videos. That has meant the world to me. I think the music contest is a wonderful way in which to engage our brains in something else other than anorexia and anorexia recovery even. Just engage our brains in something that is distracting and fun and entertaining so that we can just get away from all of the disease talk and chatter. I think that's really super important, and I appreciate those of you who have watched and who have actually added songs to the contest. I've added points in accordingly, and I really appreciate all of that. Those of you who haven't seen the music contest and you're interested, go check out my channel and you can see where I have song contest in the titles of the videos that contain song contests. And also, maybe in future, Pink Floyd might end up in one of my contests. They haven't as yet because I don't like their music, so they never come in second place. But I will say that they do have some mighty great sound effects, and if sound effects ever do become one of the categories that I choose for a song contest, then Pink Floyd's going to have to be in there, and I'm going to have to include them. So yeah, this is just part of me living in the real world and coexisting with Pink Floyd. So until next time, everybody, please take care and peace.